Welcome to Smartsheet Module 3. By the end of this presentation, you'll have an understanding of the advanced features of Smartsheet, including Gantt charts and dependencies, constructing web forms, automated reporting, and generating cell links. We will now take you through an online demonstration.
Welcome to the Smartsheet 201 training session. My name is Travis. I'm part of the support team here at Smartsheet. So today we're going to cover some of the more advanced functionality of Smartsheet, such as cell linking, creating Gantt charts, and reports and forms. There may be some overlap in the Smartsheet 101 session, but we've kind of designed this for users who are basically familiar with the general layout of Smartsheet. They know the way around it, they've collaborated with other users, they've shared sheets, sent update requests, and sent rows. So today we're going to create a project sheet. And project sheets are a great way to plan multi-step or multitask events. So here we are on our home screen. We have our folders and our workspaces. If we come up to the Add New tab, we'll see our template gallery. And one of our most popular templates is the basic project with Gantt dependencies. So that's what we're going to start with today. If you're here for our 101 webinar, you saw how we imported the Excel file to create a new task list. While I'm going to use this template, we're using basically the same information just to show you what it would look like as a project sheet. But know that I could use the same sheet that I was working on before and turn it into a project sheet with just a few clicks. When you're using a template, you can choose to include the sample data or just the structure. So I'm going to copy my data that I've been working on offline from my Excel file. I'm going to use Control-C to copy, or Command-C if you're on a Mac. Now that I have my data copied from Excel, I can paste it directly into my sheet by pressing Control-V or Command-V if you're on a Mac. I'm going to drag these comments over to the right column. So the first thing we're going to do is set up hierarchies. And you'll hear this term a lot. It's pretty interchangeable with task and subtask, or parent and child relationship. All these tasks are subtasks of the main project, which is the website launch. So I'm going to highlight these rows and press the indent button on my toolbar to indent these tasks under the website launch. These three tasks are also subtasks of design. So I'm going to highlight those and indent. You can also indent by highlighting, right-clicking, and selecting indent. Or you can press Control-K or Command-K if you're on a Mac. I'll add some formatting to make it look a little neater. So hierarchies are a great way to organize your data and to keep everything into logical groupings. You can collapse and expand to show just the data that you might be currently working on. Over on the right-hand side, we have our Gantt chart. And a Gantt chart is a type of bar chart that will illustrate a project schedule. Gantt charts illustrate the start and finish dates of tasks, and in Smartsheet can show dependencies and predecessors. So there are two different sides to a project sheet. The right side is the Gantt chart, and the left side is the grid data, which populates the Gantt chart. Across the top of the Gantt chart, you have your primary and secondary timeline. Zooming all the way in, you have days and weeks. Zooming out, weeks and months, months and quarters and years. To the left of this, we have the Edit Gantt settings. And you can get to this menu by pressing the Edit Gantt Settings button, or by right-clicking on any column header and selecting Edit Dependency Settings. And here we have our dependency settings, and if we had multiple date columns in our sheet, we could choose which ones we want to use as our start and end dates. We can also choose which columns we want to use as our percent complete column, predecessor, and duration column. Working days in Smartsheet by default will be Monday through Friday, but we can add weekends or remove work days, and add holidays and non-working days. Under Timeline Display, we have the option to change the way your Gantt chart looks. By default, the label for your Gantt chart will be the text from your primary column, but you can adjust it for any column in your sheet. So if you want to see the status of all your projects, we just change it to the status column. Or if we wanted to see who was assigned to any tasks, we just change it to assigned to. So in this sheet, we have dependencies enabled. And when you have dependencies enabled, your sheet will have some more advanced functionality. The start and end dates are linked with the duration column. So enter 2 of these values, and the third one will be automatically calculated. So if you have the start date and the end date, the duration will automatically be calculated. If you adjust the duration, the end date will automatically update. If you change the end date, the duration will update accordingly. The parent rows will automatically show the earliest and the latest of the child rows' start and end dates. And if you adjust the child row dates, the parent row will automatically adjust as well. And while design is the parent row for these tasks, website launch is the parent row for these 3 tasks. So its start and end date are the earliest and the latest of its 3 child rows. Percent complete is entered manually for child rows, and the parent rows will automatically calculate a weighted average of all the child rows. To the right, we have the predecessor column, and predecessors are used to create dependencies between tasks. So if images is dependent on fonts being completed before it can begin, you would add a 3 in the image's predecessor column, because 3 is the row number of the preceding task. Now in our Gantt chart, we see how these 2 tasks are connected, and images will start 1 working day after fonts is completed. And if all your tasks are dependent on each other, you can go down your sheet and add predecessor values for all your tasks. You can also create dependencies through the Gantt chart by clicking and dragging from one task to another. Now that all your tasks are linked to each other through dependencies, you can adjust one date and all the other dates will adjust automatically. So if your project is delayed by a week, you just come to the first task, adjust the date 1 week later, and all the tasks underneath it will automatically adjust. This can also be done through your Gantt chart. You can click and drag to move your tasks forward or backwards in time. You can also adjust the length of each one of these tasks. By default, this is going to be a finish to start relationship, which means it will start the task 1 workday after the predecessor row finishes. But you can change this by clicking in the predecessor cell, clicking the pencil icon, and we can change it to finish to finish. So it'll finish the task on the same day the predecessor row finishes. Start to start, it will start the task on the same day the predecessor row starts. Or start to finish, it will finish the task 1 workday before the predecessor row starts. And we can also add lag days. So if your tasks are dependent on each other, but it might not necessarily start 1 working day after the other task ends, you can add lag days. So if the task begins 5 days after the preceding task ends, you can add 5 lag days. Now we can see in our Gantt chart, so these tasks are still dependent on each other, but we have the 5-day lag. You can also choose to add negative lag days. So now we're going to create a milestone, and milestones are great for marking important dates, checkpoints, or events. So to create a milestone, come down to a new row, and we'll just call it milestone. Select a start date and the end date, which is the same day, and change the duration to 0. You'll see this little diamond icon in your Gantt chart. which you can also adjust the same way you would a normal task. And you can link it to other tasks using dependencies. Now that we have the Gantt set up the way we like, we can change the colors of the Gantt bars by right-clicking on the bar, selecting Color Settings, and changing it to whichever color we like. You can also use conditional formatting to automatically change the colors of your Gantt bar based on parameters in your sheet. To do this, click the Conditional Formatting button on your toolbar, add New Rule, and let's say we want to color the Gantt bar red whenever the status of the task is red. So we're going to say, if the status is red, apply this format to the Gantt bar. And this is all live updating, so if I change my sheet, then these formats will be applied. Or maybe I want to see all the statuses that are red, and if it's assigned to James Page. So now all the tasks that are assigned to James Page and have a red status, the Gantt bar will change red. Next, we're going to talk about cell linking. And cell linking is extremely useful when you're consolidating information from multiple sheets into one summary or master sheet. So let's say you have different projects, and each sheet has different users assigned to the tasks, and you would like to see a quick summary of these sheets with live data. So we have two website launch sheets, and we need to create a master sheet to get a general overview of how the project is coming along and to share it with our higher-ups, who don't necessarily need to see the details of each sheet. So I've already created a website launch dashboard, which was created from the same template we used to create the website launch sheet, as well as a second website launch sheet. So the website launch sheets will be known as my source sheets, as they are the main source of my data. And the dashboard will be known as the destination sheet, because it is the destination of the data. So to link a cell, you can select a single cell or multiple. You can select up to 500 cells at a time. Click the cell linking button on your toolbar. Find the sheet you would like to link from, and select the cells you would like to link. And you can link up to 500 cells at any one time. So we're going to come to my other website launch sheet, and we'll link over the entire release cycle. So all these cells, you'll notice, have blue arrows pointing in, and that indicates they're linked in from another sheet. If you click in the cell, hover over the menu, you'll see the sheet that it's linked in from. Clicking on it will show you the exact cell and sheet that is linked to, and allow you to go directly to the sheet. In the source sheets, the linked cells have gray arrows pointing out, indicating they are linked out to another sheet. And you can click on it, hover over, and see exactly where it's linked out to. And this is all live updating. So if I change something in the source sheet, it is automatically updated in the destination sheet. So cell linking can be used on any type of sheet. We're using it in our project sheet, but it can be used on anything that you might be working on. And it could be a good way to share a subset of your sheet. So if you're trying to share parts of your sheet, but you don't want to share the entire thing with a user, you can use cell linking to link over part of your sheet to a new sheet and share that out with the user. Next, let's move on to reports. And reports will allow you to look across multiple sheets and show you only items that meet the criteria you specify. To create a report, click on the Add New button, go to New Blank Report, go down to your report builder, select the sheets you want to be included in your report, You can choose a single sheet or every single sheet that you own or are shared to. We'll choose the 2 website launch sheets we're working on. So let's say we want to see everything in our sheets that have a red status. Come over to the What category, find the status column, and select red. We then can choose which columns we want to be included in our report. You can choose any column that's available in your sheet. And select Run. But maybe we want to see only the tasks that have a status of red and that are assigned to James Page. So we can add a Who criteria. It's assigned to James Page. So now we're able to see everything that's assigned to James across our sheets that has a red status. Reports, just like sheets, can be sent out via email, either as a PDF or an Excel file, by clicking on the Send or Share Report button, Send as Attachment, selecting PDF or Excel, and you can schedule this to happen on a recurring basis. So we could create a report which is sent out every Monday at 8 a.m. to James Page, which shows all the tasks that he is assigned to that have a red status. We could also narrow it down and show just the tasks that are due in the next week. So now James will get an email every Monday with a list of all the tasks that he has to do for the week that have a red status. To share a report, you share it the same way you would share a sheet, through the Sharing tab down at the bottom. But in order to see the data in the report, the users have to be shared to the underlining sheet. So if I share this report with James, but if he's not shared to the website 201 sheet, he will not see any of the data in the report. Next, let's talk about web forms. And web forms will enable the sheet owner or collaborators with admin access to the sheet to collect data into your sheet using a customizable form. A web form can be created on any sheet by clicking the Web Forms button at the bottom and creating a new form. By default, you'll see one entry for each column in your sheet. You can rearrange these, rename them, and even delete fields without it affecting your sheet. Different fields will have different options, such as using custom labels, help text. You can make them required fields or hidden fields. You can add additional fields by either creating new fields, which will create new columns in your sheet. You can add a file upload option and headers and descriptions. When you preview your sheet, you'll see that it's branded however your sheet is branded. So if you have your own custom logos and colors on your sheet, then it'll be represented on your web form. And submit. When a user submits a web form, it will automatically populate your sheet. We can see the data I just added through the web form, including the attachments I added. To share a web form, you can send it through email directly from Smartsheet, or you can copy this URL and give it to anyone who will be able to fill out the web form. By clicking More, we have the option to get an embed code, and you can embed this web form on any website through our iframe code. So the last thing I want to show you is our Help Center. And if you ever have any questions about Smartsheet, this is a great resource to come to. Click on the Help button at the top left. go to Help Center, and you can either type in the topic, what you're looking for, or you can browse. Chances are, if you're looking for something, we have an article written about it. And a lot of the articles include videos that can help walk you through a lot of the features. If you're unable to find what you're looking for in the Help Center, you can always reach out to the support team. And there's 3 ways you can get a hold of us. You can email us. Our email address is support@smartsheet.com. You can submit your question through a web form, or you can request a callback. So that is our Smartsheet 201 training session. And again, if you have any questions, please email the support team, and our email address is support@smartsheet.com.
You've now completed this module. If you have any questions, please contact your direct manager.